A couple of non-runners, but still a double-figure field for a low-grade novice handicap hurdler that's up next here at Stratford. Henry Oliver is represented by Seller Club, who's around about a 9-to-1 chance at the moment. Such is the low grade of this race, it's not impossible by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and second run after the wind up, you have got that. First run, they get a bit of confidence back, and it was a solid first run from the wind up. They third in a very similar race to this at Market Raisin, to be honest. Conditional jockeys race at 0 to 95, and now a mares only contest off the same mark. I don't think it should be too far away.
In behind her with the red hood on, number 13, Gladys Eva Jane, former Peter Bowen inmate. Cheap purchase for Jake Coulson, not shown much recently.
No, and only was well beaten with falling at the last behind Northern Rose at Seville last time.
Horse number 2, Lady Caro, Emma Lavelle chasing a double on the day. Bits and pieces of form would give her a squeak.
Well, the front row second definitely would, where she's beat 4 lengths by the stablemate. Didn't follow it up in open company at Fontwell again, so she's getting that inconsistent profile.
9-2 at the moment. Number 6, Lucky Money. Promising start, but not gone on.
No, it was pulled out when last seen at Doncaster. Handicap was dropping her quite quickly, I suppose. Dropped the £4 for that effort, but again, I need to see a bit more. But the Jenny Candice team are in quite good form.
Number 5, Get Me to the Moon. 1 of 2 in the race for Anthony Honeyball. Shading favouritism at the moment at 7-2. Again, started promisingly and hasn't completely built on it.
No, 11-1 when running at Taunton last time out. Beaten 18 lengths in what wasn't a particularly competitive contest. The plus is that Anthony Honeyball, I think, is proportion mares to geldings. He's one of the highest in the country. Does exceptionally well with his mares. And he's persevering, going again. So it might be a final chance this evening, but it's one of those races, and if she's got anything in hand of her mark, she'll go very close.
Stablemate is number 4. That's Kernigan Isabella. Well, again, her profile is very similar to a lot of these in that it's tailed off and it's become inconsistent.
Well, she had a really heavy fall at Wincanton about 15 months ago, and it was a whole year before she reappeared in the very same race back in February. Never travelled with any enthusiasm on that occasion. Was behind Lady Caro last time. At the moment, the jury's out with her.
Number 14 in the sheepskin noseband, that's Northern Rose. Gary Hunter's had a good night. He's had a winner and he's had a horse run well on the back of a lengthy absence. Maybe the drop back in trip will suit her.
And back into a mare's race. I just like her jumping to be a little bit smarter. There is absolutely nothing to this horse, is there? No. Very narrow. She is very fit.
She is.
Yeah.
And she looks well.
There's a little race in her, and maybe the Gary Hamner team is such good form. And the plus for me, she's back against the mares again. The last 2 runs have been in open company against the geldings.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no, definitely. Number 12, Energy 2 for Philip Hobson, Johnson White. She's returning from a winter break, early spring break as well. Again, profile is not particularly bet compelling. No,
the positive is the fact they're going again, Connections. When they've given them a break, they must think she's got some ability to bring her back into training again.
And one of the last out of the parade ring will be horse number 1. This is a Sophie Leach trained 3 Max. There's another returning from a lengthy absence over hurdles.
Well, she is 0 from 8. She has got 3 seconds to her name. And a repeat of that, Worcester second off 93, £2 higher. Behind No Way Pedro would give her a chance, but she's been well beaten the last 2 times we saw her.
I think she might just sharpen up for the run as well. But we will see. Right, that's the bulk of them for this upcoming Novices Limited Handicap Hurdle. Right, runners assembling at the post. James and I had a look at quite a few of these on extra in the parade ring. One we didn't see, James, however, was number 10, Queen of Steel, and she's vying for favouritism.
She is, and she's really gutsy and tough. She's very limited, but she does run a race, which is quite rare in this contest. We've got a top two in the market out, My Virtue and Hot Fizzy Lizzie, so it is a very winnable option, and she tries, and that will count for a lot. Her and Northern Rose are quite similar types in the fact there is very little to them as physical specimens, but they do put their best foot forward. I just thought the fact Get Me to the Moon tries again, given 82-day layoff for the Anthony Honeyball team. He's very good with his mares. She's joint favourites. This is the best option really for her to get ahead in front.
Now they are just beginning to sort themselves out. Starter is on top of the rostrum, flag not yet raised, but they are making a steady advance towards the starting tapes. And Northern Rose, of course, trained by Gary Hammer, who's got his horse in really good form. He's looking for a double on the night as well. In fact, a couple of horses tonight. He's had a winner in a well-backed Rotten Row. Robbie Don on board that one, and WB on the back of a lengthy absence, shaping well in the staying handicap hurdle under James Davies. Right, we are set to go now. The flags are raised, so let's go back out to the box and rejoin David.
Cheers, Stuart. So 12 of them, 12 mares on the approach for race 6. And thereof, in the Squab Storage Mares Novices Limited Handicap Hurdle, they will jump 8 flights here. And Queen of Steel is well to the fore, so is Lady Caro, so is Koenigan Isabella. Getting over number 1, Sister Julienne is just in behind. The red braces on a white jacket with Cellar Club. Next in the field, on the outer is Northern Rose, yellow cap. Racing in mid-pack, Get Me to the Moon. On the outside, Gladys Eva Jane. And they're followed by 3 Max, Lucky Money. Energy 2 is at the back of the field at this point as they come to the next. And that is at number 2. Mrs. Kinsella is last of all. Lucky Money lost a little bit of ground at that one. So they've taken their first 2 hurdles. 15 lengths would separate these mares. Lady Caro and Koenigan Isabella going on to Queen of Steel in third, about 3 lengths back now. And then in fourth, Northern Rose, followed by Cellar Club on the outer of Sister Julienne and Theo Gillard. And they're followed by Gladys Eva Jane and Get Me to the Moon. And behind Get Me to the Moon is 3 Max with Lucky Money, Energy 1, and the best turned out winner, Mrs. Kinsella, is last of all. This is flight number 3, Lady Caro, Koenigan Isabella, the first 2. And all of them getting over that. No significant mistakes made. And Lady Caro, she has the advantage here, but it's only by half a length, maybe 3/4. And they're pressing on at a reasonable pace by about 6 to Queen of Steel in third, the pink and blue. On the outer of that is Northern Rose. And then Cellar Club and Lily pinch in ahead of Sister Julienne. This is the next flight, number 4. Over it in 7th was Gladys Eva Jane, but immediately chased along on landing. Then Get Me to the Moon. They are very well stretched, these. 20 lengths or more front to back. 3 Max still towards the rear with Lucky Money, and then Energy 2. Mrs. Kinsella is detached as they get to the next. Lady Caro, Koenigan Isabella, the front pair over it. Still being followed by Northern Rose. Going along nicely for Gary Hanmer's informed team on the outer of Queen of Steel. And then in 5th, Seller Club to Sister Julienne. And then Gladys Eva Jane. Gladys Eva Jane is followed by Get Me to the Moon, and then there's a gap of 4 or 5 to Lucky Money, Energy 2 passing a couple. One of those is 3 Max. Mrs. Kinsella as well adrift. This is the 3rd last. Lady Caro outjumped Koenig and Isabella, but on the leader in a flash, Northern Rose. These two almost side by side, being followed by Queen of Steel. They are bunching up. Improvement on the outside from Gladys Eva Jane. And then in the next spot is Seller Club, then Sister Julienne, Get Me to the Moon. So they are bunching up here as they get to the 2nd last. Lady Caro, Northern Rose, the first 2. Koenig and Isabella is then ridden along. So too is Queen of Steel. She's going as fast as she can. And then Seller Club on the outer is Gladys Eva Jane. Get Me to the Moon is trying to creep into it and is running on fairly well as they make the run towards the home turn. Northern Rose with the advantage here to Koenig and Isabella. Queen of Steel the inside. Get Me to the Moon has improved into 4th under Rex Dingle. Still 4 or 5 lengths behind the leader, Northern Rose, and clear of Gladys Eva Jane, Seller Club and the weakening Lady Caro. Northern Rose has the lead. Koenig and Isabella trying to come again. Get Me to the Moon ridden confidently and quite ambitiously up the inside. Northern Rose over with on the inside rail Get Me to the Moon now being delivered with a challenge. Northern Rose trying to see that challenge off as they run to the last half furlong. Northern Rose on the inside. Get Me to the Moon trying to get through and get up. They're head and head here. Get Me to the Moon, very well ridden to win. Get Me to the Moon takes it. Northern Rose 2nd. In 3rd was Queen of Steel. In 4th, Koenig and Isabella.
Here's a 1-4 for Anthony Honeyball. Get Me to the Moon, delivered late by Rex Dingle. It took her a while to master Northern Rose, but eventually she's just worried the Gary Hanmer trained filly out of it. It's low-grade stuff, but they produced a good finish between them. Get Me to the Moon at 7-2. You gave her a positive mention before the race, James. Clearly, you were right to do so.
Yeah, and the form stacks up because you've got the little mares, Northern Rose and Queen of Steel, back in 2nd and 3rd. She really quickened up at an early stage in the green under Robbie Dunn, did Northern Rose, and it's quite a long run in here, whereas the 2 Honeyball mares are winner in about 6th or 7th place now in the Unity Farm holiday colours. Rex has been quite patient, and she's quite a big rangy mare compared to the other 2 that featured in the finish, and she's just got that little bit of scope, and she's hit the line strong today.
Taking over 2 out. It's here that Robbie Dunn, well, he's forced to go on with Northern Rose, because at that stage there's nothing else going with him, and he looks in behind. It's almost as though he's looking to see, you know, is anything coming with me? I could do with a bit of company.
And if he'd been a little bit more fortunate, the winner might have got trapped in behind weakening rivals, but Rex has wisely gone round the 2 that are stopping around the bend, and now he's in a lovely slot to pick up the pieces, and a lovely gap also appears right in that rail, which just helps the lightly raced daughter Bevis Moon come out on top. I love the attitude of little Queen of Steel. She's very limited. Look at the size of it. There's no size to her whatsoever, especially for a hurdler. But she really does gallop to the line back in 3rd, and much better from the Honeyball other horse, Canadian Isabella, who hasn't shown a great deal since a heavy fall at Wincanton 15 months ago. That's better from her back in 4th.
Yeah, you're right. And look, admittedly, it's low-grade stuff. You wouldn't want to get carried away, but it's nice to see her be a bit more competitive. And actually, the first 4 have come pretty well clear of the rest.
Yeah, the other 8 haven't got involved in a very low-grade contest. Their futures are a little bit limited, but the quartets to the field, the first 4 places in the summer, keep them going. The 2nd and 3rd, they're at their marks, they're at their limit. This is their race where they might just fall into a win, but both those little fillies, they do try very hard, and that counts for something at this grade. Our winner's just got that bit of scope to potentially improve, and again, when a yard like Anthony Honeyball keeps low-grade horses in training, gives them a break and brings them back, it does suggest they've got something in them that will see them win races, because he doesn't waste opportunities as Anthony Honeyball.
So Rex Dingle, successor in the silks of the Unity Farm Holiday Centre, the old Burt House colours.
They've had a lot of horses in the West Country for
Did your
quite
father
some time.
ever ride in those silks?
He would have potentially.
Yeah, you have to ask
I think
him
they've had a horse
home.
with us many years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very popular colours in the West Country.
I think I might be right in saying that